Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 9264. This is a bifolding door lock, is what it is. Bifolding, putting a lock on a bifolding door or a bypassing door is certainly a common occurrence. And what I find most often when people are doing it, it's very common that a landlord does it in a vacation property, wants a personal closet where he keeps material germane to managing the property between tenants. So they'll take a bifold and they'll put a lock on it. Or last client I sold some of these to actually put two, felt there was going to be too much flex in the door and wanted to secure it top and bottom. Okay, great. And also, in the home setting, it might be nice to have a closet where, they can't otherwise be opened, whether it be by people or some other event. I've had people call me and need hardware just to keep the dog from reaching up and leaning on something and figuring out how to open something. So the 9264 could be a really good option for your requirements when you want to lock bifolding doors. Bifolding doors are a pair of doors that they will open like this. They'll have a pivot on one end, top and bottom. On the other end, there'll just be a hanger at the top, and there'll be a track. And when you pull the knob, and that's the pivot side, the doors will actually open like this. Okay? Bifolding doors. And the point is, over here, you're going to lock that, down. Let's do a visual tour of the item. First, we have the lock body itself. This is in the US3 finish. So this would be a brass type finish. Certainly not polished brass, but it's not chrome either. So it's a brass type color. This is the 9264, and that specifically means bifold applications. The A in the part number means regardless of how many of these that you order, if you order the A variant, the key number will always be the same, MA101. So if you order 5 of these, all 5 will be the same key. You might want them, the landlord scenario, yeah, he wants one key. Last time I did maybe 7 of them. Client wanted them all key to like, because that's how that works. Body, couple of original keys. It is important to note that this can be unlocked in 3 positions this way. It's non-key retaining. I can remove the key here, I can remove the key here, and I can remove the key here. Okay, so whatever the application is. It's also going to include a cylinder collar, and you're going to use that. It's usually not optional. You usually do install it. So it's going to look like that and give you a finished sort of look. It's going to include a couple of strike plates, and we're going to determine where these are used. You're going to have probably what we would call a rim strike and then a mortise strike. So depending on how that leading door is encountering its jamb and where the lock would be installed and what you need to lock into, you'll use one of these 2 strikes. This is what's called a wafer tumbler lock. Okay, wafer tumbler lock is the construction of the cylinder on the inside. There are flat pieces of metal that have a certain profile to them, and they have a hole on the inside, and that size and shape of that hole is related to the cuts on the key. And when those wafers are lifted based on the cut in the key, based on the hole in the wafer, when they're lifted to the proper height, it will then turn. Okay, so a couple of strikes, and then of course fasteners for everything. Now there are, included with the hardware naturally, will be installation instructions. And these installation instructions kind of talk about bypass as well. Okay, so we're going to go over the installation instructions because they're linked to down below, along with a link to the keyed different version of this, and we're going to hop to the camera view and go over those installation instructions. Okay, so here is the item that we are looking at. Okay, and first of all, let's talk about variations on this. So the 9264 is available in keyed alike and keyed different in this polished brass finish. Okay, I don't see it in chrome and satin chrome at all, but let's pull up the manufacturer's catalog and see what else is available. Okay, so the manufacturer's page comes up, then we'll pull up their product catalog, whatever year is the current year that we're dealing with. Okay, let's do a find function on the keyboard for 9264, and there it is. So what Hager provides is a 9264, and they list that only in 2 places. Okay, and then they have the pocket door lock as well, the 9262. They don't tell us if it's what color is available, and they don't really tell us what to do when they're keyed alike. And in order to do that, we take a dive into the product catalog, and it shows us even though not very clearly, 9262 available for pocket doors in US3 and satin chrome, 9264 for bifold, also keyed alike. So polished brass only, that brass color, keyed differently or keyed alike. The bypass lock that they have, a 9268, brass, chrome, brass chrome, keyed differently, keyed alike. Now we understand that there are 3 locks that they're dealing with, 9262, 64, and 68. And when we hop back to the product profile, under the folding doors additional components, that's where we're indeed going to find a reference to the 9264. Okay, so a little catalog cut pages there. Available keyed alike, and that's simply going to be a link to the keyed alike item, because we happen to be parked on the keyed different item, and it's just the one that I selected earlier. So let's go back to the keyed alike item, and that will have a link to the keyed different item, which would be the D different. All right, so installation instructions. Let's bear down on this and get a closer look. Now, Hager did not invent this lock. Other people have made this well before them. It's been known by other names as well. But Hager offers this. They do a tremendous job when it comes to sliding, pocket, bifold, bypass, things of that nature. Okay. And what is a bit confusing, admittedly, we're literally looking at like the same information, just doubled. So, and indeed, the installation instructions that are included are only half. So we're gonna ignore that half of this material, all of this half. It's just that document twice. Okay, and probably by the time you're seeing this, I'll have this cropped out. So let's just focus on only 1, 2, 3. So bore a 3/4 inch hole to prevent splintering. Start from room sided door. Finish from closet side. So they want a 3/4 inch hole. Now what's important is that they're showing you, obviously the 36 inch is less crucial, but the 5/8 is going to be important from the edge of the door. Okay, so we're focusing on on folding doors only. So 5/8 over, room side of panel. So from the exterior side of the bifold, 3/4 inch hole. And then what they're saying is drill it from either side. Drill it partially from the outside, then come back in, go inside and drill it from the interior. You don't want to have your drill bit erupt through the workpiece and then splinter or erupt the wood away, because especially with open cell type wood like oak or luan, it can certainly erupt the filaments, and even in a closed cell wood like maple or birch, you can tear that veneer as well. So that's why they want you to drill on each side, because the side that you're drilling from is going to give you a clean start in terms of what that hole will initially look like. Now they want you to mount the lock with screws provided, turn lock hook to locked position, leave key in the lock. So when you insert the lock into the door, you obviously have to place it in the unit and secure it with the screws. Whether the hook is coming down or going up is not going to matter, in the sense that on the outside you can physically turn the lock over, and the only thing that will change will be whether the key goes in teeth up or teeth down. So the way that they're showing it on the camera would be a teeth up sort of arrangement. My point is you can take this and turn it upside down if you wanted it to, if you're folding to the opposite direction and wanted the hook coming down. Whether it goes up or down doesn't really matter, because that cylinder, when the key is extracted in the locked position, it will not the cam is not permitted from rotation. So they want you to install the lock in the door. That's step 2. And they want this thrown in the locked position because they simply want you to apply the strike on the back of the other panel. So what they're showing us here is literally 2 different ways to install this without, I guess, mentioning it very much. If you want to install it at the center of the opening, you're going to use this surface strike that's here. Closet side of center panels, hold lock strike in place, mark and drill screw hole and horizontal slot only. So what they're saying is the hook is thrown. Take the surface strike and literally place it to mate with the hook, and put a screw in this center horizontal slot only. Okay? Keep a 1/16 of an inch clearance between lock hook and lock strike. So 1/16 from the inside of this, of the cam or the tailpiece, to the strike itself. Step 4 is where you'll make any adjustments necessary, lateral adjustments. Okay? Adjust strike left to right until lock hook has slight clearance from lock strike. Tighten the screw, then insert your other screws into the vertical slotted holes and tighten those down. You will, and I don't see it mentioned here, you will install the trim ring on the exterior side. That's just a push it in sort of scenario. Now that's number 1. They're showing it installed in the middle panel, but over here in step, for passage doors where lock strike is attached to the jamb, use the flat strike. So they're saying now you can take the lock and install it. If these doors went this way, you can install it over here if this was a cased opening frame, a jamb. And at that point, you would throw your lock, you would mark it, and then you would mortise or surface mount your strike to the jamb. For passage doors where lock strike is attached to jamb, use the flat strike. Hold strike so stamped lines on strike are level with top edge of hook. And there is an etched line that's on here, and I'll show you that when we switch back to the camera view. Mark slot outline with pencil, cut mortise into jamb as shown. So at that point you're done. Now what they're really driving at here is you have your bifold doors. Okay, you have your cased opening frame. You can install that lock here so it locks here, or you can install it here using the flat strike. This would be the surface strike. Or you can install it here using this strike. Either side. So you're going to either pivot this way or you're going to pivot this way. Doesn't really matter if you're going in the center. You just have to decide which door you're going to put the lock on. Doesn't matter. Or if you're sliding this way, this would be your pivot over here. This would be your hanger, and you'd put the lock over here. For sliding it this way, you know, you're going to put all of that on this edge. And that's what they're driving at with those two different strikes. So while the installation instructions could be better, I suppose, as could this video be, it does give you an idea of exactly what they're intending here. Now, the methodology of the other locks are installed similar, but they're indeed different. And I will have half of this cut off so it's not confusing. I thought maybe we were dealing with a door that was two different applications. These will work for doors up to 1 3/4. They'll work for 1 3/8 as well. No problem about that. The use of the collar is optional. And let's switch back to the camera view and inspect these parts. Please keep the installation instructions up as well. Now, going through the installation instructions a little bit closer, they want you to bore a 3/4 inch hole, part this way, part from the outside, part from the inside, meet in the middle. 5/8 back set, that 36 from the floor, that's your call. 36 just happens to be the very common size for lock heights in residential applications. When I put my caliper on the barrel of this lock, it's 0.678. 0.678 is the size of that. Okay. So that we do know that size will be correct when you drill that hole. Let's take a couple of other basic dimensional properties since we're talking dimensions. The length of the body is 1 1/4. Okay, so if you're going to make that 1 3/4 door thickness work, really what happens there is you're going to end up inserting that key far enough to where when you get to 1 3/4, you're just getting to the beginning of the bow of the key. So that key is going to go, you're not going to have much of a finger on it, but it will certainly work. And that's where that trim ring comes in. Because if that's just 1 1/4, you're going to need to trim that off. You're going to have obviously a little bit of space there. Okay, it'll look like that. So this distance is 1 3/4. Okay, so you're going to look like that. So 3/4 inch is okay. Yeah, I have no problem with that size. 36 inch, again, you put it where you like. You want 2 on the door? Have at it. Step 2 was to attach it to the door. Step 3 really is what we're talking about when we say you've got your lock thrown. With your surface strike. And you're literally going to leave a 1/16 of an inch space from the inside here, well, 1/16 of an inch space there, and just mark your holes and be done with it. Screw goes into that horizontal slot first. Make any adjustments so it works nice. Screws in the vertical slots. Okay. Just line it up. Eyeball it. It's a technical term. You eyeball it. And they're merely saying keep that 1/16 of an inch clearance so that your hook, as it comes out, is going to adequately catch. Okay, you're going to want that 1/16 of an inch. All right. Now, step 4, adjust. Check it, adjust it, screw it. You're done. Now, step 5 was literally this is installed on the leading edge. You're going to be on the, pretty much on the inside of the closet, and you're going to line this up. And they're saying hold strike so stamped lines on strike are level with top edge of hook. So they're going to want, you see that line that's there. They're going to want that line, if I can get my fingers out of the way. Key can come out. It's in the locked position. You're going to want that line to be even. Okay, so again, you're eyeballing the strike. That material is very thin. Are you going to mortise that? 60 thousandths. You know, typically, no, you're not. And quite frankly, you're going to have to prep the frame because that hook has to enter into the hole behind here. But you might just chisel that part out and surface mount it or mortise it. They're certainly calling out for it to be mortised into the jamb. Okay. You know, after that, there's no parts left, and we've discussed, you know, exactly how you're going to go about installing this. They're easy. I've had people come and buy the locks and say, now I need help installing it. And I go over the installation instructions, and, you know, you need really just one dimension is crucial. Your 5/8 of an inch backset, the edge of the door to the center of the hole. Everything else is eyeballed. You're going to want a, you know, small drill to pre-drill all your holes. You're not going to want to split any wood. Maybe a hammer and a chisel. Obviously a screwdriver. But at the end of the day, you know, these are easy items to install. And it is exclusively residential applications where we sell them. Occasionally someone's in an office setting and they need to just put a little lock on that door for whatever reason. Locks keep honest people honest is the bottom line. And it's really great that Hager has these available because there's a need in the marketplace for them. Speaking of Hager, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. The name Hager is synonymous with hinges, Hager Hinge. It's their namesake. They have been in business since the mid-19th century. Not an exaggeration. There are Hagers at Hager Company now today working. Hager Hinge. Everybody knows them for hinges. But door closers, exit devices, lock sets, electrified hardware, weather stripping, sliding door hardware, okay, trim and auxiliary hardware, ancillary hardware, you know, piece parts, on and on. Hager has been continually aggressively expanding their footprint. I know that right now at the end of 2019 they are in a expansionary period, improving their distribution capabilities. And it looks like I will be visiting that facility at some point in the first half of 2020, and look forward to, you know, being in the audience watching Hager continue to grow. They want to be a major player in the market. I can tell you that their client base is very loyal to them. I've got scenarios where a customer will call and say, "Hey, I need this Hager lock." Well, we don't stock it. Hager doesn't stock it. No one stocks it. It's 3 weeks. You know, here's an alternate. Nope, I'll wait for the Hager. So that loyalty is, I would say it's profound, is what it is, because I see that all the time with Hager products. If you have any questions on the 9264 bifolding door lock or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.